Today's practical rituals that we'll be doing are fairly simple. They don't involve a lot of movement, so you don't need a lot of space. And if you just like to write in the chat box if you do have any particular condition that affects your breathing, whether it's asthma, COPD, whether you have anxiety or you're suffering from another illness, just please write that in the chat box so I get a better indication of our live community. If you're at home and you're watching the replay, then as with all of the classes, please move and breathe at your own rate and work within a container where you feel safe. So you take personal responsibility for your situation. So my name's Shivani, if you don't know me, and I previously was a very bad breather. I was a severe asthmatic, and I had to learn how to breathe in order to not only have health, but to have a peaceful state of mind. And this is how I entered the world of yoga. And I'm very blessed now to be a relatively good breather. I still have to train myself to breathe correctly. And it is my joy and honor to be able to share with you today some of the keys to better breathing so that you have better health, you have more vitality, and you have peace of mind. You have a deep sense of connection to yourself, and you feel peaceful and graceful when you're faced with life's challenges, because we all have them, especially now. So the first thing we're going to do is just to wake up the mind, because some of you may have just woken up. So we're just going to shake the hands, shake the fingers. And as you do this, just begin to focus on your breath. Just notice how you're breathing when you move your body, when you're sitting in front of a screen. Just begin to notice your breath. And then very gently, just massage the scalp. So just doing this to bring alertness now to your body, waking up the mind for a beautiful new day. So as we record this live, it is springtime in Sydney, Australia. So many of you, like myself, might suffer from allergies from the pollen, the trees. So the next warm up movement we're going to do is just a self-massage. So use your index or index and middle finger and just gently massage from the center line of the eyebrows outwards. We're stimulating the sinus canals here. And you can lower your gaze, so taking your focus off the screen. And once again, just bringing full awareness to how you're breathing as you move your hands, your fingers. And then very gently massaging down the side of the nose. So this self-massage practice can be wonderful if you're feeling congested due to allergies, or you're in an environment that's a little bit stuffy. And then finally, under the cheekbones, gently stroking. And again, taking your awareness off the screen, just noticing how you're breathing as you do this. Beautiful. And just sitting comfortably. So before we go into the main practices that will help you breathe better, we're just going to have a quick review of the basic respiratory system. So a little bit of science, the breath advantage. So we're learning breathing techniques that can help reduce anxiety, stress, breathlessness, asthma, allergies, and can even ease any physical pain that you're feeling, can help ease your mental distress through life's challenges, and may in fact help improve snoring and digestive issues. So a quick review, this will only last for about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll do the practices. But it's important for you to understand why we're going to do what we're about to do because it can almost seem counterintuitive. So you remember from science in high school or even primary school, we inhale, we take in breath, and we bring oxygen into our lungs. And this is diffused into the blood circulatory system and delivers oxygen into our tissues. And as a result of life and metabolism, so the movement that we do, the food that we take, the breakdown of sugars in our body, we produce CO2. And this moves back into the venous system of the body and into the lungs. And this is what we exhale out through the body. So oxygen is used by the little tiny cells in our body. It's called the mitochondria. And this creates energy. And energy is our sense of vitality. It directly affects the mood that we have. It directly affects how much we can move physically in our body. And the carbon dioxide that we breathe out is what actually enables the oxygen to enter these cells. So we need carbon dioxide for an efficient energy exchange of the body. Most of you will know that nose breathing is better breathing. The nose is for breathing, and I always love to say that the mouth is for eating and kissing. So if you identify as a mouth breather, then this workshop will be particularly beneficial for you, because mouth breathing is not correct breathing. So the nose basically warms and filters and moistens the air that we breathe in, so that when it enters the lungs, it's of high quality. If you're an unconscious mouth breather, what happens is you create inflammation and you dehydrate your body. And to understand this better, it's very similar as if you were going out for a walk on a very cold winter's day, particularly if you're in the northern hemisphere. So you go outside and your skin becomes very red. If there's no protection, your skin will become red, it will become chapped, it gets very irritated. And this is the same with your airways. Everybody is understanding this, yeah? So you want to understand what happens when we breathe in. We have oxygen, and when we breathe out, we're taking out carbon dioxide. So if you mouth breathe, and we all tend to do this unconsciously when we're not aware of how we're breathing, it constricts our airways. So if you have anxiety, if you have panic attacks, if you're asthmatic like myself, we have a tendency to unconsciously mouth breathe. And therefore we breathe harder, we breathe faster, we're breathing up in the chest, in our secondary breathing muscles. Now you might not have a breathing condition, but you might identify with a tendency in your everyday life that you may cough sometimes a lot, you may wheeze, or you may feel like you're gasping for air, especially as you're walking upstairs, or you may go for a walk, you feel like it's hard to breathe. So what we know is that breathing faster will actually make you breathe out more carbon dioxide. Now this is really important to know because carbon dioxide actually is a smooth muscle dilator. So the harder you breathe, the more carbon dioxide you're breathing out, the more constricted your airways will become and the harder it is to breathe. And this is what happens with asthmatics, with people who hyperventilate, when you have a panic attack, when you're feeling anxious. Unconsciously, you're breathing more, the breath becomes fast, and you're throwing out more carbon dioxide than you need to. So your airways start to collapse or they're constricted. Now, in essence, most of us, because of our everyday lives that are very, very busy and full of information, quite stressful, we are all essentially hyperventilators. We're all breathing at a faster rate than is optimal. So in order to breathe better, in order to optimize the functions of the lungs, the heart, and the blood, and the brain so that you feel alert, you feel calm, and you feel grateful for life, we need to slow the breath down. And there are now countless studies around the world that show that when we slow the breath and we increase the carbon dioxide levels through breath holding, through pausing the breath, that we have better blood flow to the brain, we have better blood circulation, the systems of the body, the nervous system, the muscular system, all systems of the body are brought into coherence. And there is more peace and harmony within each of us. So therefore we feel better, we have more vitality. So this is what modern day science is revealing. The less we breathe, the slower we breathe, and the less we throw out carbon dioxide, the healthier we are, and the more vital we feel. Now this is modern day science, but if we go back to thousands of years, to the great yoga masters, they say the exact same thing. So some of you are my long-time yoga students and graduates. We know from Patanjali's Yoga Sutras that your breath directly impacts your mind. So if you're breathing incorrectly, if you're breathing fast and hard, there is a tendency of your mind to have many, many thoughts. You might have overwhelming thoughts. You might have thoughts from the past or increasing thoughts and worries about your future. And this creates a very stressed nervous system. And then you breathe even faster because you're stressed. So in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, one of the classic texts that we study in yoga, we know that if you can slow the breath down and lengthen your exhale, and then pause the breath, retain the breath, you will feel calmer. You'll have less fluctuations of your mind. So this is the essential practice that we learn in breath expansion practices in yoga. And we call these pranayama. So if you're new to yoga, this can be a lot to take in. But essentially, in order to breathe better, we have to breathe less. And on a deeper level, the less we breathe, the more we can pause the breath, the more we build up our life force energy. And in yoga, we call this prana. So in the Indian tradition, it's prana. In the Taoist tradition in the East, it's called chi. So we build up our life force energy. And the whole point of doing this in yoga is to achieve self-mastery and a deeper connection with the divine, the true meaning of life. So without getting too esoteric, when we can pause the breath through slow breathing and through a calm mind, we begin to awaken what we call our Kundalini energy, Kundalini Shakti. And this is our most primal, creative, life force energy. And when this awakens, we feel so amazing. And it's akin to feeling in love. So when you fall in love with somebody, there is that song, You Take My Breath Away. It's almost like there is no breath, and you feel so in love with all of life, not just with that person, but the whole of the world feels perfect. So this is essentially what happens when you have mastery over your breath and your mind. This is Kundalini Shakti. And all of us, whether you've done yoga or not, if you've fallen in love before, this is the feeling that you will get. So today, what I'm going to share with you is the basic breath rituals that I have learned and I practice to help me breathe better and essentially end any reliance on asthma medication. So if you do this consciously and in conjunction with your medical health practitioner and a yoga teacher or a breath practitioner, then you can breathe better and with less reliance on outside medications. So are there any questions about this basic respiratory system that we have and the connection that it has with the mind and yoga? We're all good? Okay. So like anything, whether it's playing the piano, whether it's learning to run a marathon, it takes time to become a master of the breath. and it takes time to understand the nature of your mind. Some of us, we think a lot about the past, and that can often make us feel quite dark. We wish we could have done things differently. Some of us think more about the future, and this creates a lot of stress, and we tend to be more anxious. So this is why it's so important to spend time with yourself, to spend time with a teacher who has experience to help you understand how you're thinking. And then how you think will impact how you breathe, and vice versa. How you breathe will impact how you think. So before we move into the practices, the only other thing to remember is that the brain is, we have plasticity. So if you're constantly breathing hard and fast and loud, the brain will think, oh, okay, this is how she or he needs to breathe in order to survive. And you will unconsciously start to do this. But if you consciously make the decision, I'm going to breathe better by slowing the breath down, by learning how to pause the breath, then your brain will learn this too, and you will start to do it unconsciously, especially when you're sleeping. So it might be the case for you, as it is the case for me. When I sleep, I tend to mouth breathe. I have my mouth open. So I wake up with dry lips and my throat is sore. This is very typical of asthmatics or anybody with a breathing condition or anybody who is stressed. So if we practice this while we are alert, you'll find that you will sleep better because your brain will be telling your body to breathe slower and to only breathe through the nose. Okay, so that's the basic science. We are going to increase our carbon dioxide levels by breathing slower and pausing the breath. So for many of you, when you pause the breath, you might feel a little bit of breath hunger, air hunger. You might feel like you need to breathe more because we've been very conditioned to think more breathing, bigger breath is going to bring in more oxygen and be better for you. This is not the case. So if you feel a little bit of breath hunger, you might feel a little bit stressed. You might start to sweat a little. And for the mind, it might feel a little bit scary. So what we do is we find our bliss place. So you have to take your mind to a place where you feel calm, where you feel alert, where you essentially feel in love with life. So we're going to spend a few minutes now just finding our bliss place. So for you, that could be somewhere outside in nature. I know where my bliss places are in the world. I take myself there. I'm surrounded by beautiful green trees, and I feel so calm and alert. For others of you, your bliss place might be in your bedroom. This might be where you feel very safe. And as you imagine yourself, if you're indoors, imagine the window being open and having fresh air, fresh ventilation. So really important that we have good quality air in our environment. So just take a moment. You're going to stand if you like, and you're just going to shake your body. So before we dive into our bliss place, which is essentially a meditation, we just want to get into the body and move any aches or pains out of the body. So shake your spine, shake your tailbone, your lower back, your mid-back, your upper back. Gently shake your neck. And as you're doing this, notice your breath. What happens to your breath when you move your body? And now swing your arms. And I would like you to imagine that you're going to run a race and you must win. You have to win. So you're going to run as fast as you can, get the arms moving, breathe as fast as you can, and just notice how you're breathing to win the race. Imagine your opponent is coming up behind you and you're just in front of them. A few more seconds and you're going to go across the winning line and just completely relax. Just notice how you're breathing. Notice your heartbeat. Notice the rate of your breath. Keep all focus on yourself now. Stay focused on yourself. Just imagining now your bliss place. Where are you when you feel most yourself, when you feel calm, when you feel peaceful, when you feel alive and in love with yourself and life? Visualize this place as clearly as you can. What can you smell? What can you hear? What can you see? What can you taste? And what can you feel? And just whisper to yourself, my bliss place. Let your mind know this is your bliss place where you can feel calm and in love. Keep full awareness on yourself as you gently open your eyes, and you'll come into a comfortable seated position. So remember your bliss place. You're going to direct your mind to your bliss place when you feel like the breathing practice is a little bit challenging. So posture is important. So the spine is nice and long, your chin is tucked in. You can have some spinal support. So have something resting on your back if you need. And just feel the earth beneath you. Feel your sit bones. Feel your feet. And just bring your index finger under your nostrils and just notice the breath come in and out through the nostrils. For the rest of our practice, we're going to nose breathe only. So you'll keep your mouth closed. If you're familiar with yoga, then you can bring the tip of your tongue to the top of your palate. This is a special tongue position we utilize to help circulate the breath and therefore life force energy prana. Your prana rides along the breath. If you're new to yoga, it can be all a bit too much, so just nose breathe. Keep the mouth closed. You're going to bring one hand now onto your breathing muscle, your diaphragm, so it's just under your rib cage. And you'll bring the other hand onto your chest. Just notice how you're breathing. You're going to pacify the chest. So less breathing in the upper chest and feel the movement of your diaphragm. Now, in order to breathe better, you're going to breathe vertically. So feel like your diaphragm, your breathing muscle, is expanding and contracting vertically. So it's expanding out and gently contracting inward. So you're breathing out and then diaphragms contracting inward. So a calm, long, deep breath, a calm and focused mind is when we're breathing with the diaphragm and the upper chest is relaxed. So when you're breathing with diaphragmatic awareness, you're toning down the stress response in your body, the sympathetic nervous system. You're dialing up the rest and digest response of your body, the parasympathetic nervous system. few more rounds of breathing with diaphragmatic awareness, vertical breath. And then just relax. Notice how you feel. So now I'm going to demonstrate the second ritual that we're going to do. So you're going to inhale for a count of about 6. So if this feels too much, then just take it down to 3. But we'll inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you're going to pause your breath by pinching the nose. So you're going to pinch the nose and you're going to sway for 6 to 10 seconds. As you pinch the nose, there'll be no breath coming in or out. Now the swaying movement, that will help to distract the mind from feeling like it's not breathing. And the swaying, it's like rocking a baby. It calms the nervous system so you can be more present and alert. We might try the 3 breath count first because I can see there are a lot of people I don't know here. And then if you are familiar with yoga, if you've been practicing with me for a long time, then you can take it up to 6 counts. So sitting comfortably, just adjust your position so that the mind knows, okay, here's a new practice. The first practice, just breathing with the diaphragm vertically. And now we're going to practice breath retention. When we retain the breath, we are able to better exchange carbon dioxide and oxygen in the tissues of the body, bringing more blood flow to the brain, better optimal function of our organs. So inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3. Pinch your nose, sway from side to side, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and relax. Inhale, long, slow, quiet breath. It's very simple, but if you practice doing this on a daily basis, you will be able to reduce hyperventilation. You will breathe less, and you will have a better exchange of the gases in your body. So we're going to try now with a 6 count breath. If you feel like you're getting stressed, go to your bliss place. Stop the practice and just go to your bliss place. Let your mind feel calm and in love. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pinch your nose, pause the breath, and sway. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Slowly inhale, 2, 3, 4, and exhale. Complete exhale. Just notice how you feel. So if your body and mind is ready for this 6 count, you'll be dialing down your sympathetic nervous system. So you might feel warmer, you might have more saliva production in your mouth, your sinuses will open, and you'll feel more peaceful. So if this is the case for you, you're ready to do the 6 counts. If you were feeling a little bit of breath hunger, you were feeling a little bit stressed, maybe you were getting a little bit sweaty, almost wanting to gasp for air, go back to the 3 counts. So we're going to practice one more round in your own time. I'll practice here to a 6 count breath. So if you finish earlier, just sit and be with yourself. Take your awareness off the screen And just notice your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations. So let's begin now. Just notice what you're feeling. If you were feeling like you had to gasp for a breath at the end of the breath retention, then it just means your body's not ready for that count. So drop the count down. What we're seeking is a soft, relaxed, reduced breath, and practicing our ability to pause the breath, retain the breath. In yoga, we call this kumbhaka. And it's really important that as we practice these, that we have effortless effort. For many of us, we've been very conditioned to push, to strive, to do the best we can through forcing. But in order to keep the mind calm, to keep the functions of the body optimal, we need to always practice from a sense of kindness, loving kindness, from a sense of relaxation. And this is the number one principle of yoga. We're loving and kind to the breath and to the self. So if you practice this, slow, quiet breaths, and then pausing the breath after exhale, you will normalize the carbon dioxide and oxygen exchange levels in your body. Your blood pressure stabilizes, you feel calmer, you're more alert, and you can respond to the challenges in your life. It can almost seem counterintuitive to think to better breathe, we have to stop breathing. But this is what the ancient yogis and yoginis have known for 5,000 years, and it is what science is now proving. We need to slow the breath down and practice breath retention. So in order to practice this, you have to find times in your everyday life where you can do this. If you have a formal yoga practice, then wonderful. You can practice when you do your yoga. Or if you have an exercise practice, if you're a hooper, if you're a dancer, before and after you do your main practice, then this is where you would incorporate this breath practice. You only need to do 5 to 10 minutes a day. If you don't have a regular training that you do, you could do it as soon as you wake up. That's optimal. And before you go to bed. And so tag it on to something like you're brushing your teeth. Do it after you brush your teeth. There was a study recently done in New York with 9/11 survivors. So many of the survivors of that day, they have what they call glass lungs. And they have so many breathing issues now because of all the pollutants that they inhaled when the buildings collapsed, that they have asthma, COPD, they're very ill, and many are developing cancer. So there was a team of doctors, and they took these survivors and they taught them this practice, the breath retention practice. And it's having remarkable healing benefits for these people. So if you're more interested in the studies, then you can send me a line and I can send you some of the resources I have. But keep it simple. And we're going to finish now with a very simple practice of humming. So if you feel like this breath retention practice is a bit too much for you today or tomorrow, then we can practice humming. So this is another pranayama practice, breath expansion practice from the ancient tradition of yoga. It's called Brahmahari. And what we do when we hum, we stimulate the vagus nerve. And this is the nerve responsible for dialing up the parasympathetic nervous response in the body, the rest, relax, and digest response of your body. And if you've got children or grandchildren or you work with children, you may often see that they are constantly humming to themselves. They're just humming away as they play with their toys or as they daydream. So we know innately that humming helps to calm the nervous system and to bring it into balance. So the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system is relatively optimal. We feel alert, we feel calm and safe. So we're going to practice humming now, Brahmahari. I'm going to play some music to do this, and we're just going to do it for about 3 minutes. Then we'll rest, and then, alas, we have to finish the workshop. So shake the body out a little because you've been sitting for a while. And take yourself to your beautiful bliss place where you feel calm, where you feel alert, where you feel safe. And you're going to hum so the mouth stays closed and you hear the sound of your voice and breath through the nostrils. Let this sound of the breath flow through the brain, through the face, down the chest, through the whole of the body. It's like you're cleansing and washing the whole of yourself with your humming. So 3 minutes now to finish. Beginning to hum. Just gently finishing on that out breath, feeling the power of that humming bee breath. And keeping the focus on yourself. Notice what you're feeling. Notice any thoughts that you're having. Notice the sensations in your body. So feel into your bliss place. In your everyday life, when you feel challenged, whether it's from a person or a situation at work or at home, just take a moment to tune in to your bliss place. You might like to hum, or you might practice breath retention. A soft, relaxed, reduced breath. This will keep you calm, alert, and a feeling that you're actually in love with this moment. And this is the definition of bliss or ananda. You would not change anything. Even the imperfections of the situation, you're here, you're accepting, and you're present. You are in bliss. So we actually did the breathing, humming ritual for only about 90 seconds, ideally 3 minutes. But we are out of time, so to close our practice, we're going to bring our hands to the chest. And we're going to finish by listening to a song, and if you know the chant, Om Namo Gurudev Namo, I bow down to my highest teacher, and this is the breath. Your breath is the best teacher you have in your life. Oh, my beloved, kindness of the heart, breath of life, I bow to you, and I'm coming home, and I'm coming home, and I'm coming home, and I'm coming home. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Take a very gentle inhale through your nostrils. A gentle, calm exhale through your nostrils. Pause your breath. Go to your bliss place. Stay calm. And when you're ready, gently inhale. So thank you for joining us live. There's over 20 of you. And I'm sure there'll be many more who do the replay. Honor your breath. Observe your breath. If you notice your mouth breathing, close your mouth. Breathe through your nose. And just hum. Practice humming. Thank you to Vicky and Mon, our beautiful hosts for the Shire Wellbeing Festival. If you want to follow up with me, if you have any questions, then you can contact me through the festival or my website, which is Blissaplan.
Thank you so much, Shivani. That was just amazing. I'm sure everyone will agree. Feeling incredibly calm and peaceful. And yeah, that was really wonderful. So thank you so much.